Good morning. I just wanted to show you what I did for my Journal of Stitchery, how I made a wrap for it and how I closed it. So I covered a button with some vintage embroidery. And then when I made the wrap, I also put this little piece of elastic in. I put it through, I punched a hole and made a knot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this if the loop stays the same size that I need it. And then I'll just take the wrap off so you can see what I did with the wrap. So the wrap has many, many stitches on it. And I think it's going to be a fine wrap. And even if the book expands, it will still keep doing what it's supposed to do. So the book I chose was A Girl from Montana. And hopefully you can see it okay. It's a little bit dark in here. But anyway, so I did make myself a pocket at the front. And I did a floating spine stitched way of putting it together in the book. So I'll show you the spine later. You can't see any of the stitching in it. So I came to this really late because we were in Ecuador for 6 months for the winter. And I didn't have any of the equipment that I needed to build this over there. Especially I didn't have a book. So what I did is when we came back on April 23rd, I think I started May the 1st to complete the book by the end of June. So this is my opening page, Journal of Stitchery. And then you can see here in the middle, I did a simple pamphlet stitch, and I think I punched in 9 holes, and I had this really beautiful surgical suture cotton that was really strong, so I used that to stitch in my 3 signatures. So this is the first of my stitches, and this is 1 to 15, and here I've done 5 to 20 or 15 to 20, and then this is from my friend Pat Kozak, who brought me this beautiful piece of embroidery from Zihuatanejo, which I wanted to incorporate in it. So this is my January block, and with the bunny, and I had lots of these beautiful vintage yo-yos or suffix puffs. Some of them I made, and some of them I got from my wonderful person, Debbie from Dollhouse Vintage in England. And as you can see, where the cardboard was, where I put it in, I put a little strip so you couldn't see the cardboard, just a little strip of fabric. This one was our February block, and I think it was vintage and lots of flowers, vintage lace and flowers. My butterfly that I cut out of a panel of bark cloth, and lots of different stitches in it. And I love these little, what I made is a stamp, and then sewed the stamp onto attached it to another fabric. This was a piece of vintage bark cloth that I've had for years, and this was a cottage that we had to do. And you can see right here, I cut a second piece and put it over top because this piece was a bit better. And then I just stitched roses up here and fixed the picket fence. And then I did lots of turkey stitching on the tree to make it look like it was fuller. And this is a pretty fat page because we also put it on a piece of vintage quilt, which I got from Debbie as well. This one here, to me, it's really special. I have a friend in Perth, Australia, Cheryl, who sent me this beautiful batik that she gets when she goes to her place in Bali. And we have not yet met, but she has sent me all this beautiful fabric, and we are hoping to stay at her villa in Bali in the next winter or spring. So the little bird was really special to me. I tried to do some of what Rachel and Sarah do and her mom, which is fill in the flowers with different kinds of stitching. And this is another center page, so this is the second signature. This is the third signature, and this was June's page, which we just finished. Of course, more Suffolk puffs. You can see that pink and blue are some of my favorites. This was hand-dyed fabric that I did dye in Ecuador, as a matter of fact, and it's just watercolors that I was playing with, and then I mopped up the fabric with my watercolor that was extra in my palette. And that turned out really well, because this will never be washed. And then this piece here is, I had this given to me from my friend Cindy, and she had this given to her, and I think I have 12 of these beautiful panels. This was a bird that I did long time ago, and I found this napkin had little cutouts on it, so I just added that to the bird because I had 3 extra pages that I had to fill. And then this was a sampler from, I think, drop cloth samplers that I probably did 10-15 years ago, and it was the perfect size to put in here and work on my, I thought it made a nice last page of my book. And then I also added a little pocket here should I want to do anything. And I think what I want to do is I want to put in a story, type up a story on one of my vintage typewriter and tuck it in there, so if this journal ever gets found, they'll know how this journal was created. So I just wanted to show you that the back of my book has no stitching on the spine because I did a floating spine. So hopefully you like what I did, and it's a little bit helpful to anybody else who's thinking about taking the class. I started really late, and as Rachel said in her video this week, you can pick up a lot of interesting information from other people that post their videos and what they've done on a weekly or monthly basis. So even if you haven't started it yet, there's still time. As Rachel and Sarah said, the lessons are going to be up for a long time. So thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a really good day.